Hello and welcome to a Star Citizen Alpha 3.20 State of the Game, and a bit of patch notes as well, a bit of background here. Alpha 3.20 launched to live, and there were a load of server and database problems. Even Chris Roberts posted up talking about them having issues with their database software. They are fixing this ASAP and may even change software for their database stuff if they can't maintain stable, fast connections between servers and databases. Quality of life and stability is incredibly important to them at the moment, and Chris did go on to basically say they want to get the game into at least 3.17.x stability levels, and they're working towards that in the short term. So CIG have since released a 3.20.0a patch and a hotfix patch, as well as tweaking various bits and pieces for the 3.20 branch. Jumptown being run, which is a big dynamic event, hasn't helped the situation, though I suspect has provided a ton of feedback, and that's kind of what the alpha is about. But let me give you a quick summary of the state of the game currently, before we then delve into a bit more detail and patch notes and the sort of timeline there. There have been a ton of problems with 3.20, mostly related to servers and database issues, and Cloud Imperium trying to fix them and then breaking something else as they fix something, or deploy something which then crashes everything else and everything implodes. Currently for me, on the 27th of September, the persistent universe seems to work pretty well. I'm outside of peak hours at the moment. There are obviously a lot of known issues and various other issues that need to be addressed still. Probably a ton of edge cases. I know some people are going to have problems with their ships and just crashing all the time. But at the moment, I'm totally fine. Very good experience, and the servers and databases that seem to be letting Star Citizen down at the moment seem pretty stable. This could be because of their latest hotfix. That annoying audio bug seems to have gone, and I'm really interested to know how 3.20 is treating you currently. What does work incredibly well at the moment and has worked pretty well throughout 3.20 so far is Arena Commander, which obviously has been mega polished and updated for this release. It doesn't suffer from the same sort of issues that the persistent universe does with its servers and databases. There are experimental mode tests as well that are running at the moment that you can get involved with. They are on a schedule, so they will change up what modes are running on experimental modes every so often. So until the 1st of October currently, you can play in master modes being tested. They're going to be tested in Endless Vandal Swarm, Free Flight, and Dual modes. Master modes, absolutely fantastic. It's really worth checking them out because basically you get given a Gladius here. That's your only choice of ship, and you're giving feedback on the future of Star Citizen's combat and flight model, which is vastly changed in these tests. You'll see much closer range deliberate dogfights and a deliberate choice between travel or combat. From the 1st of October to the 7th, there's Tank Royale being tested. This is quite boring. You're just sort of going around in a tank trying to get kills. I need a greater objective. I need Tug of War or Take and Hold, something like that. Otherwise, everyone's incentivized to just sort of like not move and stealth and then try and take out someone sort of as quickly as possible, but not get detected themselves, and it's sort of quite boring because of that. Between the 7th and the 15th is Single Weapon Elimination, which is an FPS mode using the Arc Light Pistol. Everyone's got the Arc Light Pistol, that's it. And there's Mirror Match as well, which is 1v1 Fury versus Fury, sort of dogfighting. You've got the 15th to the 21st, that's Tank Battle, but it's Team Tank Battle this time. From the 19th of October to the 2nd of November, we've got Gun Rush again, which was actually run earlier in the cycle already. Get 16 kills to win. Basically, every time you get a kill, you get a different weapon, and there's an order to them, so you might get stuck on a terrible weapon like the shotgun pistol, and then finally you've got a knife that you have to get a kill with. But it's okay, because that knife has got a scope on it, and it's flaming. I love Gun Rush. It's one of the best fun I've had in Star Citizen. It seems to work pretty well, but it's effectively a gun game from Counter-Strike, right? And that's why it's good. It's a known sort of quantity. It's an algorithm that works. So there's actually a bit of overlap in some of these modes as well. So between the 29th of October and the 2nd of November, they're testing master modes in normal Vandal Swarm mode. And then on the 2nd of November to the 5th of November, that's master modes again being tested in Endless Vandal Swarm, Free Flight, and Dual again. They'll keep on changing up those experimental modes every so often, and new ones will be added. You can also expect some of these things like master modes to probably get updates and tweaks every time they run them. So let's look at the patch notes and go into a bit more detail about issues issues after 3.20's launch. So with the 3.20.0a patch, CIG put in multiple long-term persistence fixes to help resolve certain circumstances where ships purchased in-game with Alpha UEC were not being saved properly in the long-term persistent database between releases. They also implemented multiple database and back-end service fixes that should resolve many of the new issues that arrived after 3.20's launch. Unfortunately, this also wiped out a lot of player items and ships that had been carried over from 3.19 to 3.20, and did not solve all of the back-end issues, which were exacerbated by Jumptown and a lot of player activity. CIG did then run, after the patch was released, a corrective script that did return nearly all the missing long-term persistence items to the vast majority of accounts that lost them in-game. So that seems to have resolved most of those missing item issues now. The patch did actually fix a load of stuff as well. Multiple issues causing inventories to become corrupted and not load into the persistent universe. The Morai Fury LX paints and decals not displaying properly. An issue that was causing players to sometimes be relocated while standing in a hangar. A client crash when scrolling armor in the player inventory. Issues with the Saber variants to show debug mode arrows near thrusters when reverse strafing. An issue where players could only sell one SCU of each type of loose cargo during Jumptown. No, again, that's not great. They had to disable bed logouts for non-owners of the Hull C, because if you don't own the ship and you go and log out in the bed, it still disappears. They fixed the Constellation snub fighters being spawned in a vertical position, and I believe Constellation snubs now work properly again. They fixed an issue with stowed ships not getting stored correctly in long-term persistence, and they fixed 3 client crashes, 3 server crashes, missing shader cache issues, and a major server memory leak, which was causing a lot of 30Ks for people. So there was still a load of problems though, and some server issues, and Cloud Imperium then put out a hotfix mini patch, that's actually only just recently gone out. CIG did then have to roll back the client portion of the hotfix temporarily, as it appeared to break combat pips. So they sort of released it, rolled it back. This patch solved multiple issues causing audio corruption and delays. Now this is probably one of the worst problems we've had in Star Citizen for a long time, where the audio would just sort of like bug out and make horrible sounds, and you'd have no audio, and then audio issues where you could just hear rumble or screeching or something sort of distortion in the background constantly. This could have been because I think they moved over to the new Claudius system, and obviously there are bugs with it still. Does appear solved now, which is really, really good. They fixed Constellation snub fighter orientation issues, the ATC failing to detect vehicles within the loading zone and or failing to initiate cargo transfers, an issue causing rapid spikes in the charge level of the lasers when mining. They fixed AI security forces not engaging with players who are trespassing until they're assaulted. They fixed an issue causing the camera to be forced into third person after the player stands up from any vehicle seat twice. And they improved stability by fixing 3 client and 5 server crashes, a server deadlock, and another server memory leak. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, that patch is fully on the live servers. They haven't had to roll back anything, and all those fixes are holding. There are quite a few known issues, though, that the game still has. There's occasionally crashes to desktop when transferring items from station inventories to ship inventories using shift and left click. Loads of problems with key bindings, one of them being the default preset of the images is not matching what the actual keys are. When spawning ships at docking ports, sometimes they will be clipped into the sort of port geometry. The Hull C sometimes just can't undock. You sort of have to put it back into storage and then take it out again to potentially have a workaround for that. The Horizon transit gates sometimes don't open, preventing players actually getting into the shuttles. There's a load of armors and clothes and stuff like that and aesthetics that are using the default base colors rather than their variant colors. The laser repeater on ships occasionally just stops firing, but still consumes ammo. A Hull C with cargo can spawn extended in a large hangar instead of a docking port. It's supposed to spawn on the docking port when expanded out. Players can sometimes lose their loadouts after dying in armistice zones. In your personal inventory, right-clicking item interaction and the menu there can't be closed once it's opened. Combat AI, they can pop in. Combat's sort of like boop, boop. Can't salvage the caterpillar properly, it gives invalid material messages. Can't respawn on a ship that's streamed out, so you can't use the medical facilities there, which is weird. It doesn't happen all the time either. Room system does not protect players from extreme weather conditions around Lorville interiors. Sometimes when you click store on an ASOP terminal to store your ship, it will actually destroy it. Players and items can fall through the bottom of the Redeemer. The Reclaimer bridge elevators are missing interactions. Client FPS will drop if the player is inside the cockpit of a Drake Cutlass. I didn't actually see that. I did try that out this morning and didn't get any frame drop, but again, some of these bugs are very intermittent. The Carrack's main elevator can get locked in place and begin to spin. Some of the services don't work with refuel, repair, and rearm. Inventory can enter a bad state, and Wallace Clim is not visible at the location in Grimhex. Now, actually, some of those have been fixed already, and they're sort of waiting regression tests and people just sort of confirming that they have been fixed. But anything that prevents your sort of movement around the verse and your ability to spawn ships, stuff like that, and interact with your inventory, that needs to be solved ASAP. And those most egregious problems, yes, you've guessed it, are to do with servers and databases. So yeah, Cloud Imperium having a bit of a nightmare with their servers and databases at the moment, but light at the end of the tunnel with them, admitting it's there. I do think it's something that they can solve in the short term. Hopefully by 3.20.1, so around CitizenCon, the servers and the game will be in a very, very good state. But as I said earlier, actually, for me at the moment, in the persistent universe, it's working pretty well now, and in Arena Commander, it's working fantastic. Oh, I probably should talk about the Hull C very briefly. Yeah, so there appears to be lots of problems with cargo and movement of cargo on and off the Hull C and selling it at the moment. Again, this could largely be to do with database issues, but there's probably some general, just specific Hull C problems there. They appear to be addressing them. Let's sort of see where this goes. I am interested to know your experiences of Alpha 3.20 at the moment with this latest build, and what are your experiences of Arena Commander and testing master modes and all that sort of jazz, and what did you think of Gun Rush if you played it? Have you been getting involved with Jumptown? You were like, actually Jumptown's really good fun, or has the running of Jumptown and 3.20's sort of release really caused the servers to implode? With 3.20, actually, I would genuinely describe it as Salty Mike did, which was messy but fun, although much more smoothed around the edges now than with its initial release. But whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. NordVPN is amazing and you should buy it. It's so useful, it's easier to tell you what it can't do. NordVPN can't do your taxes. Nord, how much do I owe for VAT? NordVPN can't help you buy more spaceships. Nord, add a terrapin to my shopping cart. NordVPN can't cook for you. No, my cabbages! And NordVPN can't be your girlfriend. Can't or won't NordVPN, if that is your real name. NordVPN.com/BoredGamer will help you connect to the internet more safely, securely, and anonymously, with greater access to the content you want. But can I teach it to love? Links below for the best NordVPN deals around. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for September, that's for the Drake Corsair, that fantastic exploration ship. Not only will you be able to explore the verse with it, but the ship is perfectly competent at a huge range of gameplay, and is a fantastic mission-running ship. You can use it for cargo, you can put some vehicles in there. It's reasonably good in a fight, one of the true multi-role, multi-crew ships. To be in for a chance of winning one of those, just comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details down below. Also down below are links to be able to support the channel more. There's the join button, making you one of my elite channel members. You'll get occasional exclusive content. There's also YouTube badges and emotes to show your support. There's also Patreon for those of you that prefer that. We try to mirror the rewards on there as well. But just people liking, subscribing, and sharing these videos goes a long way. A heartfelt thank you to everyone that watched the video. I hope you have a great September, and I'll see you in the verse.